Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my channel. My name is Wildkard. It is 2022. It is the first test match of the November test series, Japan versus the All Blacks. I thought I've seen it all this year, but what a great time to be alive as a rugby fan, ladies and gentlemen. We are on the cusp of the greatest Rugby World Cup coming up next year. Japan playing the All Blacks, almost pulling out an upset. I thought the All Blacks was done for. I thought I was praying to the hair of Joe Alomu that something was gonna happen, but man, it was so close. And what a great match this was. Japan really took the All Blacks to the limit, something that I would never thought I was going to utter in my entire life, and I never thought I will be uttering for the rest of my life, but that actually happened, okay? So first up, before we talk about the players, before we talk about the tries and everything, everybody knows, in 2022, the most important thing in rugby is the referee. We gotta talk about the referee before anything else, because they are the absolute most important people on the field, right? So, referee this game, Nika Amashukeli. He's a Georgian guy. He's actually one of the best referees in the world. Really knows his laws and really calm, collected, no ego. So I was pretty happy with his performance this game. I thought he was really clear in communicating with the players, and he was consistent with both teams with his expectations. But there is another man that sits in the commentary in the TMO box. That is Marius Jonker, keeping everybody on their toes throughout the match. No one's gonna know what's gonna happen. He called in the referee a number of times to check on stuff, resulted in basically nothing, but got everybody a little bit edgy throughout the game. Everybody's always on their toes, not knowing when he's gonna call up to calling a game-changing penalty, right? So there's two incidents that was quite important in this game that was kind of like initiated by Marius Jonker. Firstly, we saw for the first time in history Marius Jonker exercising what's called, and I'm 100% sure this is the name, the Bernard Foley clause. Yes, for the first time in history, the Bernard Foley clause that was just being introduced has been exercised by Marius Jonker, the match official. In case you're wondering, what is the Bernard Foley clause? So rugby used to have a rule. Basically, if you kick a conversion after a try is scored, you are no longer allowed to go back to check for the try anymore. And this basically happened, a big moment happened during the Rugby Championship in the Bledisloe Cup game. In fact, in the Bledisloe Cup game, in that infamous first test of the Bledisloe Cup game in 2022, like a month ago, right, where Bernard Foley threw that forward pass to Andrew Callaway that scores the try to take the lead over the All Blacks in that first test. The referees were literally like checking the television to see that if that was a forward pass. Foley gets the ball, punts it through before the referee could check. And then, in fact, the referee on the field, what was his name? Not Craig Joubert. Is it? Anyway, the maniac, the egomaniac referee on the field was telling Foley, don't kick. And Foley kicks it anyway. So he was not very happy with that. And many people believed that was the reason, the initial trigger point for the referee to later on overturning that penalty for wasting time against Foley to cost Australia the Bledisloe. So some people think that's, that's kind of like justice served for Bernard Foley for throwing that forward pass. So Australia shouldn't have won that because of that forward pass. As a result of this incident, they introduced a new law that allows the TMO to check a try even after conversion has been kicked. So yeah, at that time they were not allowed to check it because the conversion was done. But nowadays they can. So Marius Jonker became the first referee, TMO, television match official, to exercise the Bernard Foley clause. And obviously the second incident that happened in this game was quite huge as well. Brodie Retallick gets a red card. I was actually a little bit mind blown by this one as well. Because so it was pretty standard stuff. Himeno was the number 7 for Japan, was trying to tackle the ball. He was really, really low with his head pointing down. His head was almost touching the ground. Imagine how low that is. Brodie Retallick goes in, tries to clean him out. There was nothing else he can do. Brodie Retallick dipped, he wrapped his hands, but Himeno, just the position he was in, he clipped him on the back of the neck, okay? Everything was fine, played on, and Marius Jonker calls the referee saying, hey, there's a dangerous clean out we're going to have a look at. So they showed it on TV, and the referee, Nika, I'm just calling Nika says, well, that was a high impact, dangerous play, despite the fact that Himeno wasn't hurt or anything. Dangerous play, high contact on the back of the neck, no mitigating factors, a red card. I was a bit baffled by this one because I thought dropping of the body height for like the player, Himeno-san being really low onto the ground, and Brodie Retallick bending his height. Surely that's a mitigating factor because he can't possibly go any lower. And there's actually no way to clean him out. I guess you could still like do some like technical turtle roll or something, like without grabbing the neck. You can still like, grab him like a seatbelt grab, and like the technical ways you can still clean him out. But from my perspective, and I'm pretty sure this is also done in other referees, decisions, where if both players are really low, this sort of collision will only result in a yellow card, as you know, it is a mitigating factor as to both players are low, and there's basically like you can't go any lower in terms of getting any safer than this. So it's pretty much as safe as you can possibly, basically almost as safe as you can possibly do in the given situation. So when that happens, it generally mitigates that down to yellow, because if both players were high, and you could argue that Brodie Retallick could have ducked when he went in for the tackle, and unless it's Barnesy unless it's Barnesy, generally the tackler is at, what do you call it? Has the onerous to keep the tackle low by dipping. But in this situation, both players are really low. I really don't see either players could have, like, Brodie Retallick could have gone any lower to make this avoidable. Like, So I thought this should have been yellow, but he got a red, and potentially they were talking about he could potentially get a match ban. So yeah, I don't know this. Maybe one of you guys could like talk to why this is a red card when both players are so low. Why that's like the fact that both players are super low on the ground. Why that's not a mitigating factor. And yeah, that was a little bit strange for my part. But Nikas is a better referee than me, so I will have to maybe read up on it afterwards to find out exactly why this was not a yellow. So anyway, let's talk about the performances for both teams. So let's start with Japan. This is like one of the best performances of Japan I've ever seen, especially against the All Blacks. You can tell, like, Japan has improved again and again and again every stage of the way leading up to this game against France, against Australia A, and you can really see Japan just piecing together all of the experiences from the past few test matches, and trying to play a game that matched the style that the All Blacks were going to play, and you really clearly see that Japan had a game plan. So Jamie Joseph, his name is the coach. He clearly did his homework and put on quite a few, did his homework and put up quite a nice game plan that's matching up against the All Blacks. So the game plan overall for Japan was really simple, just rush defense. And the rush defense wasn't like, they're not really looking at a dominant smashing tackle in the rush defense. They're just looking at basically chase someone down, two defenders, chase down the ball carrier, and just wrap him up. Just rush up and wrap up. Nothing too crazy. Just try to seal the ball, preventing the ball from passing away, and just shutting down the All Blacks. at their attack in that first couple passes as quickly as possible, and this has worked really well for Japan. And Japan's defense tackle completion rate is extremely high and extremely well done. So we'll have a look at the stats in a bit, but the Japanese tackle rate was better than the All Blacks by a long shot. The All Blacks tackling was horrendous, so Japan's defense was absolutely spectacular this game. And also, I've noticed something as well with Japan. They are really good at trying out different things. They don't have a really very kind of an attack, especially when it comes to the kicking game. They're really happy to seem to just kick the ball behind you and maybe try a few kicking options every now and then, just to keep you on your toes, not to keep you guessing. Dylan Riley, he is absolutely spectacular this game. He carried the ball well. He offloaded well. He ran the right lines. He did the kicking game, surprisingly, just little strategic kicks behind the ball, behind the attacking line, really, really well. In fact, it led to a try. So his kicking game was really, really good and on point. Both little kicks behind, or long range kicks, has been really, really difficult for the All Blacks to deal with. And also, Dylan Riley in defense, he counteract like a forward, something that a good center is expected to do. And all of this, I'm pretty sure, I just want to double check, I'm pretty sure he's playing outside center. Yes, so Dylan Riley's outside center. He's basically doing something that you kind of expected from a second 5'8" position, from a 12 jersey, but he's doing it from the 13 jersey. This was really, really impressive. We've seen a little bit of this starting to like Eddie Jones trying a little bit of this with Henry Slade with England in Six Nations this year. Not really getting nearly as good result from Henry Slade with his limited kicking game. With Australia, you can see the Australians would do a little bit of this as well, where the outside centre does a bit of a kicking strategy with Len Ikitau. But this was more than just kind of kicking oriented. This was kicking, attacking, almost playing like a 5'8". Second 5'8" out of the 13 jersey. This was super good, super impressive. Dylan Riley, the Southpaw School in Australia would like to get a thank you note from Japan. Okay, so Dylan Riley, you're welcome, Japan. You're welcome. Obviously raised in Australia. I'm pretty sure he was a South African, moved to Australia. So maybe the Springboks deserve a thank you for delivering Dylan Riley to Japan as well. But yeah, that was really impressive. So in terms of the forward pack, Himeno-san is by far the most physical guy in Japan in the forward pack. Like, all the Japanese forwards were quite physical, but Himeno-san would you really show that championship quality out of him. He played some time in New Zealand, and he just really, when the game got tough, he steps up another level. I was really, really impressed. He was just physical, dominant all the way to the end. And he played the full 80 minutes as well, and it was just spectacular to see him so good. He's always been good. It's just taking his game next level, having that, championship mentality to finish game strong. Really, really good. Japanese 4-pack as well. Surprisingly to me, the set piece were absolutely good for Japan. The Japanese set piece was able to disrupt the All Blacks line out. The scrum was good. The Japan scrum was holding up against the All Blacks. There was no... in fact, I wasn't expecting the All Blacks, to be honest. I wasn't expecting the All Blacks scrum to be better than Japan. But some people might say they were expecting, if the All Blacks were playing Ethan de Groot and Terrell Lomax at the starting props, I would probably say yes. I was going to be expecting the All Blacks to be more dominant. But yeah, the All Blacks props they had on the field, George Bauer and Nipula Lala, really wasn't getting any advantage over the Japanese front rowers. So Japan's line-out was good, scrum was good. The more defense was excellent. The All Blacks didn't score any more tries this game. Probably, even with Somasani Takiaho on the field, Japan was able to just defend them all legally and defend them well. So there was no yellow cards, nothing crazy. Defend them all quite well. Very, very impressive stuff from Japan. It almost made the All Blacks look like, it was very, very good. For the All Blacks, I don't really have too much positive to say about the All Blacks' overall performance. The kicking game was really bad. There was so many random kicks. That was the kicks, there was no pressure from follow-up pressure chasing, so there was unpressured random kicks, crossfield kicks, unpressured long-range kicks. The high balls some of them not even high enough to be a high ball. It was just like, it was just like weird sort of like kicks. The box kicks were not setting up properly for the All Blacks as well. One of the box kicks was charged down and led to a try for Japan. Stephen Perofeta, our fullback, dropped the ball, showed a bit of nerves, but I think time will grow. RTS, on the other hand, was targeted a little bit this game. The Japan was trying to attack him. His defense wasn't that much of an issue. He did show one moment where I thought was absolutely brilliant. The most beautiful try scored today was set up by RTS. He got the ball from. So this is a line-out move I've first seen from the Wallabies, where the line-out will go straight to the center. They throw the ball over the top, straight to the 12. The 12 will catch the ball in midfield. We either crash the ball. The Australia did this, where they crashed the ball and try to find an inside run up to the winger. The All Blacks tried to do this, but RTS was shut down. So when he caught the ball, the defender was already on him, but it didn't really matter to him. Just extremely lightning quick ball, offload, inside ball, 2-7 Reese, run through a massive gap at 10 position, at the 10 channel, straight through for a try. This was the absolute most beautiful try from the All Blacks today. And I jumped off my chair for this one. This was so good, so crisp, so clean. It was absolutely beautiful to see. The All Blacks breakdown wasn't really contesting that much. Japan actually had a bit more breakdown urgency than the All Blacks, and the tackle count for the All Blacks was the completion rate was really bad for the All Blacks. A lot of missed tackles, especially out wide on the wing. The All Blacks tackle with there was just holes everywhere in the All Blacks, especially close to the sideline. No one was really making those tackles, so the tackling was really poor. Only too late in the game would the All Blacks try to use their physicality to dominate, to insert some dominance over Japan. But what was good for the All Blacks was that, bread and butter, the offload game, the quick ball, the fast attacks, but everything else, the All Blacks really struggled. So it's actually a little bit disappointing that Japan did not win this one. I did feel like the All Blacks, the Japan could probably had won this if just a few things, i.e. the forward pass was caught by the referee. So let's have a look at the overall stats. 444 run meters for Japan to the All Blacks 524. At halftime, the Japan had 212 run meters to the All Blacks 271. The clean breaks, Japan actually has more clean breaks than the All Blacks, believe it or not. 6-5. Turnovers conceded, that is really high. 17 against Japan, 14 against the All Blacks. At halftime, Japan conceded 9 turnovers. All Blacks conceded 6. So the All Blacks turnover count definitely went up more in the second half as well. This is the thing that's going to concern the All Blacks. This is going to give Ian Foster nightmares. This is something that should not have happened to any international team, let alone the All Blacks. So the All Blacks, let's just zoom this in a bit. Can we? Oh, I can't make this any bigger. So the All Blacks, here we go, made 91 tackles and 27 missed tackles. So that is almost 30%. That is actually 30%, I believe. More than 30%, I believe. Missed tackle, 30% missed tackles. That is insane. That's ridiculous. Ridiculously poor for an international test team, let alone the All Blacks. If you want to, not talk about winning the Rugby World Cup, if you want to be in contention for the Rugby World Cup, this needs to be around 10% or less. 30%, that is atrocious. Absolutely atrocious missed tackle count for the All Blacks. Japan, on the other hand, had to make way more tackles. So despite the fact that the missed tackle total is 29, but because Japan had to make 173 tackles in total, the percentage is actually a lot lower. It's probably like 20% or so, right? Much better than the All Blacks' 30%. And that really showed on the scoreboard. Japan scored 4 tries against the All Blacks. And the All Blacks had to, make a forward pass to score the 5th. So, yeah, you can argue that Japan actually should have won this game. In many, many different ways you look at it. Kicks in play, 26-24. I do think that the All Blacks kicking was pretty bad overall. Lineouts, All Blacks again. 3 lineouts lost against Japan. This is horrendous in the second half. When Summer-Sunny Tokiaho come off the field, the All Blacks lineout just literally took a nosedive. It was just not even close. Again, what's his name? The Crusaders hooker, what's his name? Anyway, so the Crusaders hooker came on the field. I know him. Let's just move on. I got too much other things to talk about in my mind. I cannot think of his name right now. Cody Taylor. There it is. Cody Taylor, again, missed so many lineouts that should not have been. At halftime, no lineouts were lost by the All Blacks. So the All Blacks had 7 lineouts at halftime, 0 lost, and they lost 3 lineouts with 8 lineouts thrown in the second half. Japan, 9 out of 9. Very good scrum. No one had an advantage. All Blacks scrums all day, but All Blacks did not get any penalties or anything out of the scrum against Japan. Penalties conceded: 13 against Japan, 6 against the All Blacks, 1 red card against Brodie Retallick. So the discipline really hurt Japan a lot in the second half. At halftime, Japan only conceded 4 penalties to the All Blacks, 2 penalties conceded. So the penalty count for Japan really picked up a bit in the second half, and that, stifled the Japan's quite a little bit in their attempt to come back for the win. So let's quickly go through the game. I'm going to try to keep this video under 30 minutes because I feel like a 45 minutes is just too long of a video. So obviously, the game started early in the first 10 minutes or so. Japan already starting to show a little bit of the kicks behind, and he already started to show that Dylan Riley is going to be a playmaker for the game. He really carried the ball, he counteracted, he kicked the ball behind multiple times. He tried a crossfield kick as well, Dylan Riley. So playing absolutely like a second 5'8" out of the number 13 jersey was really, really interesting to see. Japan also has some good counter-rucking, better than the All Blacks. The All Blacks almost not contesting the breakdown in their own ball. In fact, the All Blacks lost a lot of balls at the breakdown. So the breakdown was really kind of bad for the All Blacks throughout the game. So on the 9th minute, the All Blacks, in fact, for the first 9 minutes or so, the All Blacks was basically trying to run the ball out of their own half, and Japan was defending. On the 9th minute, Japan finally lost the ball. All Blacks gets the ball, a quick counter-attack. I think Brendan Ennor kicks the ball down the field. It almost looked like a wasted opportunity, but the ball just bounced right in front of the goalpost, and the Japanese number 10 had to kick the ball out for the All Blacks to have a 5-meter scrum right in the front of the goalpost. This was looking really, really, really scary. All Blacks scrum looked steady. So first test pass, Japan's scrum didn't give away a penalty. Hoskins Sotutu picks up the ball, tries to run to the blind side. He gets tackled, and Japan turns the ball over the breakdown. Nobody in the All Blacks team, had any urgency to get this ball back. So the ball just got ripped out to the Japanese side. So yeah, already the breakdown is starting to show a massive red flag against the All Blacks. On the 11th minute, the All Blacks basically right after this 5-meter scrum was defused, All Blacks gets a line out. The ball crash ball to the center field. The ball comes back to the blind side. Sobesani Takiyaho, he's actually called up from the bench because what's his name? Ome got hurt during the warm-up. What's his name? Dan Coles. So Dan Coles was supposed to be starting, but Dan Coles was hurt with the warm-up. But anyway, Takiyaho immediately showed why he's the premier hooker for the All Blacks. He runs up, one-on-one tackle against the lock, against Japan number 5, I believe it was. Just runs him through, straight through. Bang! Big power leg drive, pumps him straight through. And then he was free. Fullbacks trying to cover him. Links up with Brodie Retallick. Retallick goes in for the first try. All Blacks 7 points to 0. So I thought on the 17th minute, there was a bit of a kicking game. Several Reese gets the ball outside his zone 22. He tries to kick ball down the field. Really poor. This is why he doesn't kick. You can see why. He kicks the ball out on the full. Japan goes back on the lineout inside the All Blacks half. Following this lineout, Japan gets a penalty right in front of the goalpost. Japan kicks for 3. 3 points to 17 minutes into the game. 22 minutes into the game, there was a lot of beautiful, there was a nice, beautiful kick behind. So, yeah, there was some nice kicking by Japan, but eventually the All Blacks gets inside the Japan's 22, start building some pressure. All Blacks gets a penalty advantage. And I'm not remembering anybody's name today for some reason. Richie Mwanga did a nice little kick behind under the goalpost. Brendan Ennor catches this one on the full, and he was literally in front of the try line when he caught the ball. He tries to roll over to score the try. Natsushima from the Japanese number 14, the Springboks, not the Springbok, the South African bloodline, grabs the ball, rolls him over the try line, and held the ball up. This was absolutely spectacular save by Natsushima. The All Blacks kicks the ball out for 5-meter line out. The maul comes down, didn't even go anywhere. Perfect defense. They takes the ball out, tries to run it out, spread it out wide. The Japan gets caught not rolling away, gets a penalty advantage. The All Blacks gets the ball, throws it out wide. The Richie Muonga gets the ball. He runs, makes a nice little half break almost, and he tries to offload the ball one hand. And it looked like RTS has overran his line. So look like RTS caught the ball maybe in front, but I thought the television looked fine. So RTS gets the ball, and then he offloads a couple passes out wide. Brandon Eno was outside, wide open, with one more player out wide. I think it was Caleb Club out wide as well. He runs in for the try for the All Blacks. Japan just faltered under pressure. No one was there to cover this 2 players advantage. So TMO calls in, tries to check. The New Zealand pundits were saying that this was a forward pass, like the TV commentators. But to me, this did not look like a forward pass to me at all. Because the ball came out of the hand backwards. It did look like RTS was caught off guard by the ball coming out. But I didn't think this was forward at all. I didn't think this was even close to a forward pass. But the commentators were saying that this was a forward. The TMO had a look, could not determine whether or not it's a forward or not. The referee said the ball looked like it came out of the hand backwards. It was fine, okay? So All Blacks gets this try, 14 points to 3. On the 32nd minute, Japan was building more pressure inside the All Blacks half. Again, Japan was able to find some space out on the fringes in the All Blacks, gets himself into the All Blacks 22. It looked like Japan was gonna put the All Blacks under the back foot, potentially pummel over for a try. To get the ball out, the number 10 rushed it, tried to do a crossfield kick, no advantage or anything, and just went too far. The ball went dead. On the 33rd minute, this was the most beautiful play in the game today. The All Blacks had a line out like around the halfway point. They overthrow the line out, like I was saying before, straight to RTS at 12, and he was being rushed by the opposition 12, I think. So he had the other opposition player right in front of him, and he just gets the ball, bam, lightning fast, pinpoint accurate inside ball to Several Reese, was flying through the 10 channel like a bullet. It just went whack straight through. So clean, so beautiful. This was unbelievable. I was like, my jaw hit the ground, how good this was. And he just ran straight through. Try time for the All Blacks, as easy as that. Suddenly the All Blacks up 3-0, and it was looking like this could be a blowout for the All Blacks. And then on the 30th, and then right after the try was scored, the All Blacks looking like they're building a lot of momentum, look like they're kicking into another gear. They're finding gaps in Japan's defense. They build the attack from their own 22 all the way into the Japanese 22, and suddenly Japan turns the ball over, and then you're just like, yeah, you think that Japan's just gonna kick it out? Nope. They get the ball, spread the ball out wide, find some space in the fringes of the All Black defense again. They get the ball, start moving the ball down the field. Riley gets the ball. Dylan Riley gets the ball. He punts the ball down the field. What's his name? Parafeta drops the ball on the receive. The ball was on the ground, bouncing around. A lot of like tiptoeing, bit of everybody, bit of juggling between from both teams. Eventually, the Japan's number 10. Let's just get his name up. He's a relatively new player for Japan. Robbie Dean's selection. Takuya Yamasawa, just showing a bit of football skills, towing the ball down the field. Che follows it up, picks it up. First try for Japan after this little scramble. 10 points to 21. Japan coming back. Just before halftime, it was looking like maybe the All Blacks wasn't going with quite a big advantage regardless. But just before halftime, Japan has one last opportunity to build some pressure inside the All Blacks half. The liner comes in, a long ball, nice little set play. The ball ends up just going wide, straight to Dylan Riley again. He was on the wing this time. He gets the ball, cuts back in field from the wing, makes a little bit of half break, offload to his inside runner. I guess outside runner. Inside runner. And then suddenly, what's his name? suddenly Nagare on the inside was in space. Japan goes in for the try. Suddenly the score, 17 points to 21 heading into halftime. Yeah. Second half, the game started. The All Blacks came out firing as you kind of would expect. Immediately, the All Blacks was building pressure inside the Japanese half. And Caleb Clark, there was a bit of a stalemate. The All Blacks was just building phases, not really getting through. Caleb Clark gets the ball in the wing, showed his power, just monstered himself through a gap, cuts back into the field, goes in for the first try in the second half of the All Blacks. Suddenly the score 70 points to 28 on the 47th minute. And again, after this was scored, All Blacks went back to the pointless kicking again. A lot of no pressure, random kicks down the field. On the 48th minute, Japan was under the pressure by the All Blacks, steals an All Blacks line-out, attacking line-out, really important. On the 53rd minute, again, Japan was under pressure by the All Blacks. The All Blacks were 5 minutes short from scoring a try. Himano-san gets into the Blacks, turns the ball over, gets a round of applause from the crowd. This was really, really good. 2 minutes later, on the 56th minute, there was a bit of a messy breakdown for the All Blacks. And then it was looking like you can see, this is the problem with the All Blacks breakdown. This breakdown basically exemplified everything that is wrong with the All Blacks breakdown today. Literally, it's the All Blacks ball, right? Everybody was everywhere. There was like Anton Lennon-Brown was like in the rocks. I think like it was him or maybe RTS. So it was like you had like I think it was Steven Perifetta. Basically, you had like two backs in the rocks cleaning out. You had forwards just walking around, literally looking at where they should be going. No one was guarding the rocks. There was like a guy that was there supposed to be like protecting the box kick, but it was just kind of like standing there, not like walking away at the same time. Like he was trying to find the next breakdown almost. So there was like absolute mess of the rock. Forwards walking around trying to figure out where they're gonna go next. The guy that was blocking the ball was trying to figure out, didn't even realize he was blocking the ball, was like literally walking away. So Finlay Christie gets the ball out, tries the box kick, gets charged down by Derns, and then the ball gets charged down, right? Before the ball could even hit the ground, Derns catches the charge down, and then he was free. Free, just running down the field, free open field for him, gets in for the try, 24 points, 28. And then suddenly the All Blacks is looking like they could be on the receiving end of an upset. On the 59th minute, All Blacks, again, just imposed their physicality, imposed their will, starting to build more pressure into the Japan 22. They just crash ball, pick and go. There must be like 5 pick and goes and crash balls. Eventually, Hoskins Sotutu gets a short ball from the number 9. He runs in, spins and turns, goes in for the try. And man, this was a try that the All Blacks desperately needed to open up the gap back again to 35 points to 24. With 15 minutes left to go, Japan was looking very dangerous going into the last 15 minutes. Almost got an intercept. And then Brody Retallick gets called by the TMO, Marius Jonker, gets a red card for a clean out, hitting Himano in the back. So suddenly, Japan had about 15 minutes left to score twice and win the game. The All Blacks really defended quite well in the last bit. Also, the All Blacks was trying to put on some pressure despite having played in the bin. On the 68th minute, the All Blacks had a 22-meter attacking lineout, gets stolen by Japan once again. Japan on the 72nd minute was building pressure into the All Blacks 22. 8 phases, looking really, really dangerous. Drops the ball. This was disappointing. So suddenly the Japan kept on building pressure with about 2 minutes left on the clock or so. Not even 2 minutes, about 3 minutes or so left on the clock. Japan was just trying to run the ball into the All Blacks half. Rishi Muonga gets caught, not rolling away after making a tackle. Japan quickly punts the ball out for like a 5-meter line out. The line out comes down, the ball loops behind, no more, nothing crazy. Loops the runner behind, crash ball into the line, and Japan just crash ball, quick ball, crash ball, pick and go 2 or 3 times, and then Himano-san gets the ball. He showed why he's the best player in Japan, runs in, rams himself through, goes in for the try. And then Japan kicks the goal, 31 points to 38. Everybody's getting back, ready for the restart. Marius Jonker calls up, and he says, I would like to exercise the burnout foley clause, please. So he goes back to watch the try that was scored by Himeno, and it looked like Himeno had dropped the ball. Yeah, but the camera angles did not... there wasn't no camera angles that could show that the ball had left... there was no camera angles that show separation, so you need to see a gap between the ball and the body part of the players like this for a knock-on to occur. So if there's any contact or between the player and the ball before hitting the ground, while going down to hit it, whilst going down for the grounding, this was considered a try. So you no longer have to apply pressure or anything, even though it did look like the ball kind of like came loose a little bit. But yeah, so there was no conclusive evidence. But Marius Jonker, most important part here is Marius Jonker exercised the burnout foley clause to check this try after the penalty goal has been kicked. So if he had deemed that there was separation with the ball, they could have called off the 7 points that was issued to Japan. So from the kickoff, All Blacks about a minute to defend, full court pressure. Japan was trying to run out of their own half. There was no time. Eventually, Dalton Papali'i turns the ball over at the breakdown. On the 81st minute, All Blacks decides to just make the scoreboard a little bit better, pad out the results a little bit. Richie Mo'unga kicks a penalty right in front on the 81st minute to save a bit more face. 31 points to 38 instead of 31 points to 35, just to make the scoreboard look a little bit rosier for the All Blacks. And yeah, that's the end of the test match. So yeah, let me know your thoughts about this game, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Really appreciate you being here. We've got the full November international tests coming up. And what an exciting time to be rugby fans. Anyway, guys, I'll see you guys a bit later for the Wallabies versus Scotland game. And have a good week. Cheers.